The first thing that bothered me was the way the bell over the door rang twice. I looked up from the register, expecting two people, but there was only one woman standing just inside the entrance, still holding the door half open behind her. She seemed normal in the way tired travelers usually did at that hour. Coat still on, keys in one hand, eyes a little unfocused, like she had been driving too long and had missed a turn somewhere out past the highway. She asked for directions to a road I knew wasn't far, just easy to miss in the dark. I started explaining it the way I always did, using the cooler at the back wall as north and the ice machine outside as the turnoff she'd gone past. While I was talking, she kept glancing over my shoulder toward the windows, not with alarm exactly, just like she was trying to keep track of something. I noticed her car then. It was parked crooked in front of pump 3, engine off, driver's door still open wide enough for the interior light to stay on. That was the part that didn't fit. Most people who rushed inside for directions either killed the engine and shut the door without thinking, or they left the whole car running. They didn't leave it sitting there open to the night like they meant to come back in 3 seconds and then forgot. I pointed it out without much thought. I told her door was still open. She went quiet for a moment, not confused, just still. Then she said she knew that. I remember the humming of the drink cooler getting louder after that, or maybe I only noticed it more because neither of us said anything for a few seconds. A pause. She kept looking at the car, not at the open door, at the side window above it. I asked if she wanted me to call someone because she had started looking the way people do when they're trying not to let their mind settle on one conclusion too quickly. She said she had pulled in because she thought someone in the station had gotten her attention from outside. A hand motion, a small wave from the front window, something meant for her specifically. I told her I'd been behind the counter the whole time. She looked at me then, measuring whether I actually believed that. What bothered me later was that I had been behind the counter the whole time. I knew that as well as I knew where every aisle in that store led. I'd been doing inventory on cigarettes when her headlights crossed the glass. I'd watched her stop at the pump. I'd watched the driver's door open. Then I'd looked down for maybe 4 seconds to set my pen on the counter. When I looked back up, she was already walking toward the entrance. There was no one else in frame. No other car, no customer leaving, no reflection moving across the window. Just her, coming in from pump 3, and the driver's side still hanging open behind her. I stepped around the counter and looked out through the glass myself. The inside light of her car had gone dim by then, but not completely. I could still see the front seats, the headrest, the pale strip of the steering wheel. The angle let me see part of the back seat too. Something shifted in there. Not a person exactly. More like the impression that someone had leaned away the instant I focused on it. I locked the door after that. I told her I was probably mistaken and that headlights from the road sometimes moved strangely across the windows. It sounded weak even while I was saying it. She nodded like she appreciated the effort. When she left, she didn't go straight to the driver's side. She circled the back of the car first, keeping her distance, and stood there for a second with one hand still on her keys. Then she got in and pulled away without closing the door until the last possible moment. I watched her taillights disappear past the sign at the road entrance. A minute later, the phone on the counter lit up with no caller ID. I let it ring once, twice, 3 times. When I answered, there was only road noise, faint and constant, and what sounded like a turn signal clicking somewhere close to the receiver. Then a woman's voice, low and careful, asked if pump 3 was still occupied.